Right now, the billboards advertise, see the Corn Palace, free. Ted Houston at Wall Drug Store became a millionaire, multimillionaire by giving them free ice water. Maybe we ought to have a gimmick. In other words, have people say, hey, give out free popcorn, shell corn, have a gimmick. And if you got a gimmick, the kids will get their parents in here. Believe me, I see it down in Florida, and it worked with ice water at Wall Drug. Maybe you can run something, add in the papers, program, a contest. How can we get the people in the Corn Palace to stay and spend some money in downtown Main Street and see all the rest of our attractions?
Thank you, Wayne. Does anybody have any more comments about the information and how we disseminate it? Dave Stevens, thank you. Come on down.
Thank you. My name's Dave Stevens. It would seem to me that in many of the elections that I've seen over the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, that there is a real silent majority. And when you're talking about disseminating information, if there's any way that you could encourage that silent majority to give input and be a part of the survey or be interactive with it, to buy into the whole concept that this is our idea. It's not something that's coming from the top down. So develop something to incorporate and involve as many people as you can in the planning process. It isn't necessarily to have a meeting like this, which sounds like a really good idea, and then 65 people show up. So find some kind of technique or ability to incorporate and get input from those people and have them buy into the whole concept.
Thanks, Dave. We would agree, and that's one of the reasons we've had this today, and maybe the email input is going to be assistance. But if you have any specific ideas, please let us know.
You know, Dave had a great point about the silent majority. If you have a one-page executive summary of something, I'm sure the city could include it in the water bills. We do that with snow removal notices, for example, and it wouldn't cost us any more money, and we could send that out, and that then for sure would reach the silent majority. Now, whether they read it is another question.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else? Well, we do have... oh, I'm sorry. Wayne? No problem.
This year's Corn Palace, the show was what you came in ended up in the black, didn't you, Mark? And you're doing a good job, and that's where we could improve. Now we can't. How much money do you have per show? What's the maximum you can charge for a show?
Right now, it varies. You know, it's just what the committee feels we can charge.
Can you get somebody good for less than $50,000 for a one-night stand? Okay, because I heard a lot of positives on the shows. They've been improving every year, and that's another thing that we can do is get shows, and maybe you have ideas who you'd like to see, whether it be country, west. What's the best venue this year?
It varied because country was very good, and our 50s, Happy Together, was very good.
50s, that's people our age. Okay, but that's something we can work on. You have a budget, I know. Is it true what I heard how you got Willie Nelson? You had to give him cash to get in. Is that a true story? But that's a good story.
Milt's got another comment he'd like to make.
One thing we've got to be sure about, recently we had a vote on the city manager's style of government, and everyone was sure it was going to pass. Guess what? It didn't. And one of the things I heard is because the movers and shakers were pushing it. We got to make sure that people don't think this is from the movers and shakers, it's from the bottom up, and they all can be part of the movers and shakers. We got to be careful, because this might be, we might have some great ideas, but if they consider us movers and shakers and they're not involved, it won't pass.
Thank you, Milt. You know, on that note, since we do have a few minutes before we were going to finish up the last hour, I'll just kind of open it up to general comments. If anybody wants to make any with regard to the Corn Palace, the process, and how they perceived the same or anything else?
Kind of in response to your first question about helping to support it and how do we get people here, it is the Corn Palace, the center of its agriculture, and I think right now commodities groups, all the grain farmers, livestock producers, they are fighting a battle to promote their product, safe, good food product, and they would be willing to, I think, support anything that promotes agriculture and how their product is produced, harvested, and given to promote feeding the rest of the world. So commodities groups would be a good avenue to pursue.
Agreed. Thank you. Lemoyne, I think you had a comment, didn't you?
I just wanted to see Katie. Lemoyne Dorgerson, I just want to make a quick comment to thank Doug, you and that committee for getting us to this point. I think you've done it in a very methodical way at this point, and I think that you're on the right track, and I just hope it don't dwindle now that we got the experts in town, and I'm sure it's going to be carried through, and I just hope the momentum continues, the input continues. I think the agricultural thing, I'm 100%, and I'm not going to reiterate that. Basketball, whatever you want to say about it, that's a hotbed. We're a hotbed. All these surrounding towns, and I came from a small town outside of here, and it's not changed in 50 years. These outside areas still want to come and play basketball in the Corn Palace. It's a big deal for all these kids and that. And it draws some people, and it draws money into Mitchell, as well as the concerts and all that do. So my point is, I think if we could get the seating somewhere around 5,000, that's talked about in our earlier study, 7,000 to get the state A tournament. Do we need the state, double A tournament? Maybe not. But we can attract a lot more if we can get this seating up to around 5,000. And I think we do need to remove the city hall out there and expand maybe into the agricultural or whatever exhibit areas that we'd want to put there. Because the other point of that to me is then we could decorate the front and the other side of the Corn Palace or the City Hall where this whole thing ties together rather than only goes part way, and then the end of it is just a slate deal of sandstone or whatever. So it would blend in, with aesthetics, I think, much better. So I thank you and I appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you, Lemoyne. I guess just on that note, there's more than just me on the committee, so if you don't mind, I'd like to take just a moment to recognize the other members of the committee. For those of you who don't know, who's spent a lot of time on this here. And the committee is expanding, which is a very wonderful thing because more people are becoming interested in being involved. I hope I don't leave anybody out here, but I want to start out just by saying some of our committee members are as follows: Jacqueline Johnson-Dice, Lonnie Weiss of Weiss Design, Mark Schilling, who's the Corn Palace Director, Stan Peterson from Campbell Supply, Tom Patzer from Patzer Woodworking, Dale and Barb Odegaard, who from the Corn Palace Gift Shop, Molly Goldsmith from Mitchell Main Street and Beyond, Jason Bradley from Culver's, Tim McGannon has come on to the committee in recent times, so has Councilman Barrington. I'd like to also thank Hannah Walters and her assistant Katie Knutson over the Convention Visitors Bureau, and without them putting all of this together wouldn't happen. Councilman McCurry, did you have a comment?
I just have one more comment. Yeah, as I sit here and I see Max Johnson over here, who's in kindergarten. Hi, Max. Can you wave? I want everybody to keep in mind that whatever we do here is affecting kids like Max for the next 20, 30, 40 years, because you commented how long this has been here and the way that it is now. And so don't just think about how it's going to affect you in the next 5 years, but how's it going to affect my kids and my daughter that just entered kindergarten that hopefully someday is going to play basketball on this court. And I just want to keep that as a perspective. as a person that's going to live in this community for a long time and has friends with young children, they're going to be here for a long time. You know, we've made a commitment to this community to make it our home. And I would hope that the people of Mitchell will make a commitment to our kids to see this thing through so that our kids have a great place to have their activities. So just keep that in perspective, please.
Thank you. Councilman Curry, I was going to say, for your sake, I hope your girls graduate from here as well. We all have stories that we can share, those of us who are at least spent most of their lives from Mitchell, and that's also something I'd like to thank you for bringing up, because I envision this as having just wonderful memories of my childhood growing up, and I'd like to see my children and their children have those same memories.
Doug, one question. What is the capacity now for basketball games? How many can they seat?
2,800.
So it had to be double to what Lemoyne said, but that sounds like a good idea. If we can afford it, yes.
Does anyone else have any general comments they'd like to make? If not, you had some very good input. We appreciate the time. I know everyone has very busy schedules. We appreciate your input. We hope and look forward to visiting with you all in the future as this plan for the next generation Corn Palace continues. Thank you and have a good night.